You know what's funny about boxers and fans? A lot of fans have fighters and they're a fan of these fighters that you're either a fan of one guy or you're a fan of the other guy. You can't be a fan of Wilder and AJ. It don't work that way. You can't be a fan of Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. You can't be a fan of Wilder and Triple G or Canelo and Triple G. It's not going to work like that. And I was just thinking that a lot of people that are Golovkin fans hate Wilder and vice versa. A lot of people that are Wilder fans hate Golovkin. And it's crazy how certain channels fit the demographic for certain people. Like if you notice, you like on this channel, this is an unbiased channel. This is me. I will talk about or praise any fighter. I don't care who you are, what you stand for, whatever you're, where you're from. It doesn't matter because this channel is not fit to, or this channel is not made up or fixed up to uh for people's bigger corporations gain. You have certain channels that they can't talk about certain fighters because if they did, they something would happen. They won't be able to. It'll get back to those people that give them interviews and press conf back passes and you know what I mean and backstage passes rather and all this. So they're not allowed because they're incorporated with certain things and certain people they're in partnerships with. I am not. And I see guys like Golovkin and Wilder, and then you always see, if you notice, if you're a fan of Wilder, you're not going to be a fan of Golovkin, right? But if you look at these two fighters, they got a lot in common. The only difference that Wilder and Golovkin have, of course, being from different countries, is Golovkin is farther along in his career than Deontay Wilder is, but not far. And let me explain. Gennady Golovkin was just like Deontay Wilder last year before September 16th. And I think last year, he made about 20 million, 21 million after, the gate and after the split and all that. And I think they gave him, I think it was 25% or something like that. Can't remember the exact number right now, but it was close to that. And he ended up making I think 27 million, something like that for that first fight. Maybe it was around that ballpark in the 20s something, and the fight was made. And of course, we know what happened on the supposed date of the rematch and all that. But before that, okay, Golovkin didn't really make but about $1 million, 1.5, $2 million a fight. His biggest purse from the Canelo fight was the Danny Jacobs fight. I think he received like 5 million or something like that. And that was the biggest fight purse that he remembered that he had up to that date. Okay, and I think that was in March or April of last year, right? So, he's just a tad farther than Deontay Wilder. That's it. So they have a lot in common. They fought a lot of guys, but really haven't fought the guys that they needed or don't have the resume like the other guy that they are in competition of fighting. Because Canelo has one of the best resumes in sports today, period. You know what I mean? There isn't a guy that he hasn't fought, except the only guy that he had not fought was Pacquiao. You know what I mean? From the middleweight division on back. Okay. Anything before the middleweight division, he fought some of the best. And then just Pacquiao was just too small, for Canelo. And that still would have been a good fight. I would love to see it or whatever. It was talks about it being, happening, but it never happened. I'm glad it didn't happen, because Canelo was up and coming and, hungry or whatnot. But back to Golovkin. Golovkin has had a taste of that money that I feel that Deontay Wilder needs to get to understand, You know, then because I can understand Golovkin doing that now because he has a taste of what it's like to get a big fight purse. So your expectations change, okay, at that point. They don't change before you get it because you don't have the experience of having it. See, Deontay Wilder, his biggest purse was $2.5 million. You know, and regardless of how he feels about Eddie Hearns, regardless of how Eddie Hearns feels about him, a contract was signed which was allowing this man in 2 fights to make $20 million. You know, and he should have took that. So then he would know what to expect with the responsibility of having all that money, you know, which he doesn't know because he hasn't had that type of money, you know. And then for all the Wilder fans out there, look at your fighter. Honestly examine your fighter. Don't look at me bashing your fighter. Think about what I say about him. Think about the facts. How many times has Wilder been in a situation to get something more than $5 million? You know what I mean? It ain't been too many. You know, it's been with Joshua twice, Povetkin, and Klitschko. So Klitschko was $7 million. He wasn't ready. They didn't want to push him out there. You know what I mean? And then you guys that are supposedly Wilder fans now, which I want to know how big of a Wilder fan you really are, because if you watch boxing like I am, like I've been doing, like I've been for the longest, Wilder was what he was in the same pool as Danny Garcia at the point. At that time. At that point of time, he was just like Danny Garcia. Cherry picker. He had that label. They gave him that jacket. Hey man, Deontay Wilder's a cherry picker because all he fights is bums. You know what I mean? So you Wilder fans, do you guys remember that? Or y'all just recently became Wilder fans because Mayweather retired? Which one is it? Because it seems like it's a trend of people that were Mayweather fans that when Mayweather said, you know what, I'm out, I got enough money, then the next guy that I guess they can identify with would be Deontay Wilder. You know, but Deontay Wilder was fighting bums. Floyd Mayweather was fighting bums too. He was fighting bums. If you take away the Pacquiao fight, right? If you take away the Pacquiao fight, who else did he fight? You know, Canelo, and that was in 2014, right? No. When did he fight Canelo? He fought Canelo in 2013. But ask yourself, who did he fight after that? He fought Ortiz, Guerrero. He fought Maidana twice. The same Maidana that upset Adrian Broner, which, you know, but look at all these other fighters he could have fought. So back to Deontay Wilder. Yeah, they were fighting bums. So you guys are the same guys that jumped on the Wilder train and didn't really understand that Wilder didn't really fight a lot of people. The only time he tested his might was against Luis Ortiz. All right? So, and that's not taking nothing away from him. That just shows that he answered questions that needed to be answered. He showed you what would happen if Luis Ortiz hit him and rocked him and hurt him. You know, I mean, it showed a lot of things. It showed he had a chin. He didn't go down. You know what I mean? You know, the referee and stuff like that. Yeah, if it had been another fight, they would have probably stopped it. But, you know, because he wasn't fighting back. He was just getting clobbered. But he did not go down. And he did get back. He did regain consciousness. And he did take Luis Ortiz out. Okay, so that's a fact. You have to give Deontay Wilder credit for that. But, well, how much money did he make? $2.5 million. You know, Golovkin on his end, what did Golovkin do? He beat David Lemieux. But the more other people, you know, like Billy Joe Saunders, the night Billy Joe Saunders beat David Lemieux, that made Golovkin's fight with Lemieux less significant, or his win over Lemieux less significant. You know what I'm saying? Because Lemieux, now if Lemieux would have knocked out Billy Joe Saunders, that would have increased Golovkin's interest. You know, that would have increased his popularity. You know what I'm saying? Because people like the guy that beat the guy. You know. And if you've beat a guy and that guy hasn't lost since, that makes your credibility a lot better, but it didn't. So, he went back on the shit list, and he fought Jacobs, a close fight, right? So, he didn't knock out Jacobs like he did everyone else. Canelo didn't knock him out either. But then here's the difference. Canelo was on an elite level. He was a star. Okay? AJ's a star. We got to call a star a star. A star is a person that has the popularity, the fan base, and the freaking money. That's a star. That's the definition. For those, what do you mean he's a star? That's what I just explained it. Okay? Golovkin wasn't a star. He had a fan base, but his fan base wasn't bigger than Canelo's. I'm sorry. I mean, Golovkin was like the people's guy that was up and coming, despite his age, because a lot of guys avoided Golovkin, which, it was rightfully so, because he was just knocking people out. He had the highest knockout percentage in middleweight history. He was seconds from tying or passing up Bernard Hopkins' 22 title defenses in a middleweight in the middleweight division. That's a record Bernard Hopkins hold. He don't want that record broken over Golovkin. You know what I mean? No, he doesn't want it broken over anyone. But a lot of these two guys, Golovkin and Wilder, have a lot in common. It's just Golovkin is a step above him because he was able to sign the contract. The fight was still able to get made. And look, mind you, it didn't get made all in a day. Okay? That fight with the Golovkin negotiations, Canelo-Golovkin negotiations, it carried on and on. And no, Golovkin did not sign a flat fee. He did not do that, But he finally got the fight. Now he's getting a lot more money than he bargained for, even after the first scheduled rematch. He's getting more money now, a year later, So, so before everyone hey, Wilder should sign this contract, I feel he should sign the contract. But the thing is, if you look at on Wilder's defense now, you look at it, 12.5 isn't 15 million. Okay. So it went from 12.5 million to 15 million plus an added fight for 5 million. So that's like a bonus, right? So yeah, that's $2.5 million. That's $2.5 million more. So basically they gave him 12.5 million. They offered him 12.5 million plus what he normally makes, or his last fight, which with Ortiz, which he got 2.5. So they gave him the 2.5 on top of another 5. And I think the 5 for Dillian Whyte, if Wilder goes in there and just destroys Dillian Whyte, it'll be an easy night for him. You know what I mean? And my question is, is it any concern, honestly, in the Wilder's camp that they wouldn't fight Dillian Whyte? Okay. See, that's the question. See, if I know it's a pride thing or whatever. Yeah, it's a pride thing. It's a personal thing at this point. But on a business standpoint, would it be smart to fight a guy like Dillian Whyte with one loss? And Dillian Whyte's going to come to bang. So he's not going to run from Deontay Wilder. But that's what Deontay Wilder likes. He likes an aggressive guy. He don't like a guy that tries to keep his guard and stay composed like Gerald Washington did for a while, right? He didn't like that type of fight, okay? He wants a fight where a guy opens up so he can hit him with his own bombs. He wants to hit you with that sledgehammer right to get you on out of there. And if he can do that with Dillian Whyte, I think that's a $5 million bonus. And if you look at it, if AJ's fighting Povetkin, he can't fight Deontay Wilder yet anyway, right? So, yeah, I would take it because you got a lot of people. Oh man, get out of Wilder's pockets. But if you say you just want to fight the fight, he once said he'll do it for free. I haven't heard someone say they'll fight for free since Manny Pacquiao said that he'll fight Floyd Mayweather. You guys remember that? This is way before it started. I think this is like 14 or something like that. He said, I'll fight Floyd Mayweather for free. And then whoever wins gives all their stuff to charity or something like that. It was hilarious, man. But nah. But No, I think he should. I think he should fight it. But that's the question. It is there any concern from the Wilder camp that Dillian White might win? You know, because who else are you going to fight at this point? I mean, let's look at reality. I mean, you gonna fight another bum? You gonna fight Brazil, the same Brazil that got beat by Anthony Joshua? You gonna fight that guy? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm not ragging on Dominic Brazil because I like Dominic Brazil. Ondoa. I think he beat on Ondoa or God, what's his name? Ondona. I think it's Ondona. But he was an undefeated fighter, and Brazil showed him what was up. You know what I mean? So remember, Wilder and Brazil, they do have bad blood. They do. They're not friends because it was a personal thing that happened between Brazil's family and Deontay Wilder's brother. And of course, Deontay's going to take up for his brother. And I think his brother said something foul in front of his kids, or some kind of interruption that happened at after one of those fights. Okay, so uh, so I would like to, I would want to see Brazil fight Wilder just because of that. You know what I mean? Because he never fought Brazil. And it's always the guys that end up beating you that you don't even recognize, you don't even think about. You know what I mean? So I want to see it because of that, because it might ignite a spark in a Dominic Brazil to want to knock out Wilder. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that's my question about it. You know what I mean? Why turn down $20 million and miss your opportunity to make that type of money? Because but again, Wilder's not an old dude. He's like 32. So I guess he sees it like, hey, I have plenty of opportunities to make that type of money. But imagine this. What other opportunities would you have at this point? I mean, if he keeps knocking people out, if he knocks out Brazil, that deal would be back on the table, still be on the table or whatever. Or, the question is, what could Deontay Wilder do to raise his credibility as a fighter, gain more popularity? You know what I mean? Go in there and fight Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury and Wilder are both talking smack about AJ, right? So the question is, well, why don't Wilder try to set a fight up with Tyson Fury? You know what I mean? And of course, they'll be fighting for the WBC. These guys, they've had words before, right in the ring. You know what I mean? These guys about the same height too. You know what I mean? And I love a fight between them two. You know. So yeah, if you think Deontay Wilder could beat Fury, and I'm pretty sure that will raise his credibility, some, because Tyson Fury has a fan base, but I want him back at himself, So, but anyway, those are my questions for you guys. You guys tell me what you think. Leave the comments below. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.